The day I graduated from nursing school, my grandfather told me, in this chapter of your life, you have to set your sail. Now, at the time, I wasn't quite sure what those words meant, but in March of 2020, those words resounded so loudly with me. When I made the decision to return to the hospital to work as a nurse in the middle of a global pandemic. Now, this was despite being a new mom, a new wife, and my mother looking at me with fear in her eyes and saying, Wendy, you can't return to the hospital. You're a mother now. You have to consider the health of your son. My grandfather's words silenced the stress I was feeling and allowed me to hone in on my purpose and honor myself as a person, as a nurse, and more importantly, honor my commitment to care for cancer patients. At the time, that was my definition of success, being able to serve cancer patients despite being in the middle of a pandemic. So I ask you, what is your definition of success? What is your purpose? It's important to understand or align with your purpose because once you're aligned, you will be successful. And if you don't know what your purpose is, I want you to explore these questions. What do you love? What does the world need? What are you good at? And what can you be paid for? And I'm not talking about monetary payment. I'm talking about what lights your soul up. If you can answer those questions, you will be able to identify your purpose. And why is that important? Because when you are successful, you have the ability to influence, impact, and inspire so many lives in this world. And stress is something that can prevent us from being successful. That's why stress management is so essential in our lives. And I want to give you 5 steps to de-stress for success. But before I do that, let's talk about stress a little bit. So what is stress? Now, stress is a personal phenomenon, meaning your definition of stress will be different from my definition of stress. But I define stress as an imbalance that occurs in any aspect of our life. It can occur physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, or even socially. And this imbalance prevents us from being successful. It prevents us from focusing on what's important. It's really supply and demand. So something's demanding things from us and we don't have the resources to supply it, to really balance it out. So it creates an imbalance. And stress on a biological level is an imbalance. It's an imbalance in hormones in our body. And when that happens, we have the signs and symptoms of stress, which is your heart beating. You may get sweaty. You may get a burst of energy, right? So that's the imbalance of the hormones in our body. And there are many types of stress. So there's acute stress. This is a short-lived stress. I'm not sure if you have heard of fight or flight, right? So that's the stress that you feel when you're in danger and your body revs up to say, what do I need to do to protect myself? There's also episodic stress. This occurs for a period of time. So think about, an exam. If you have to take an exam, that's episodic stress. You may be a little nervous or stressed out about that. And then there's eustress. Eustress is a happy stress, but you still have the imbalance that occurs in our system. So eustress is stress you experience when you're happy or surprised. So like if you're having a baby, as long as you was planning it, right? That may be eustress. And the last one is chronic stress. Chronic stress is the everlasting stress that you feel like is never going to end. And chronic stress is the stress that has the ability to impact our mental and physical health. And there are a lot of diagnoses that are associated with chronic stress, such as depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, diabetes, infertility for women, impotence for men, and it can decrease our immune system, which puts us at risk for bacterial and viral infections. So when we are constantly stressed, it has an impact on so many aspects of our lives, mentally, physically, but also it impacts us being successful. It impacts us influencing people in this world. It impacts us from being aligned with our purpose. So I want to give you those 5 steps to de-stress so you can be successful. The first step is, what is the story around your stressor? What is the who, what, and why around your stressor? Is your stressor something that you can control or something you can't control? The second step is, I want you to hone in on what would your life be like if you didn't have this stressor. I want you to envision your life with this stressor being gone or eliminated. What would your life be like? The third step is, I want you to assess what's in your toolbox. What do you have in your toolbox that you can use to help you alleviate or eliminate this stressor? Or what is it that you need? You may not have the tools. What or who do you need? Do you need to reach out to someone? Do you need to do something different? Do you need a shift? What is it that you need to help you eliminate or alleviate the stressor? The fourth step is, what is your SMART plan? What is your specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed plan? So how are you going to operationalize what you identified you need to eliminate the stressor? How are you going to do that? That's going to be your SMART plan. And the last step is execute the plan. Execute the plan now. So those are the 5 steps that you can apply to your life to de-stress for success. Because we, the world, we need you to be successful so you can continue to influence, inspire, and impact the lives in this world. And once you do that, you will be a comeback champion. So thank you so much. I hope you learned something that you can apply to your life and continue to be successful.